Good evening, everyone. So, I hope you're all doing really well. Today, we're going to be talking a bit about the end game state of Genshin Impact. No, we're not going to be talking about the need for more combat. We've already sort of like killed that bird about 1,000 times already on the channel. We're going to be talking about two serious things about the game. So, the first is what are the reasons that we have to keep on playing? So, what are the reasons to get more characters when there's not enough content, and that content does not necessarily have to be combat, but when there's not enough content to justify getting those characters, and secondly, when the end game of Genshin Impact itself is so loosely coupled. Now, the first point I made is very, very obvious. For those of you that have been watching my channel, you've seen that I haven't really been uploading because I just don't find the motivation. Like, what am I going to do with my characters? Am I going to beat up the Spiral Abyss for the 500th time and post a video of me doing it? I think you all have enough confidence in me and in my ability to beat up the Spiral Abyss, whether using F2P or whale units. We've done that quite a bit. But I haven't really gotten the motivation to play, and this is very, very problematic. And the other thing is, the game itself is just loosely coupled. And what I mean is, if I go now and I spend money to get Scaramouche, or I use some of my saved up Primo gems, the fact that I got him means nothing for TCG. The fact that I get Scaramouche's weapon means nothing. If I level up Scaramouche, or if I get him to Friendship 10, it doesn't tie at all into TCG. There's literally no connection between the two. Yes, there's a bit of a connection between Scaramouche and, let's say, the Teapot, which is kind of a good thing, but that interaction and content is also a bit limited, if we're really, really honest. And this is what I mean. Everything is just so loosely coupled at the end game, it almost feels like, well, what now? I got the fancy character. So how can we get over this? Well, let's take a couple of notes from Honkai Impact and see what they've done. So I'm going to now sort of paint the exact same picture. I'm at the end game. I've got the character Elysia. I've leveled her up to the max. All of her skills are maxed out. I can't do anything. She's got the best gear you can possibly get, so there's no reason to keep on farming or to grind out gears or whatever. I've got the best weapon, so what is my reason to keep on playing? Well, how does Honkai solve this? Well, you'll be really, really surprised. So let's look at Elysia's stats. Now, the first thing that you need to notice about these stats is that you actually get a very nice breakdown of them. So as you can see, my total stats are a combination of my character and equipment, so I can't really improve on these. And then some other things here. Now, I'm not going to explain the other things, except for the base squad, because I believe it's the most relevant. But essentially, what happens in Honkai is that you've got the equivalent of the Genshin Teapot, and you obviously have characters that move into the Genshin, or sorry, into the Honkai sort of dorm and so on. But what's cool about the Honkai system is that you actually have an incentive to go and level up. You can see a growth, or to increase character levels. You actually have an incentive to go and play their character trials and learn about the different mechanics that the game sort of has. And you might say, well, why is that kind of helpful? Well, you see this little green thing here? Yes, you get this by interacting with the rest of the game, even though you're not really going to invest into any of these units. But the more of the green thing you get, you can see where it says progress bar, the stronger your dorm squad is. And if you've paid attention to earlier, you saw there's like a little dorm squad little column. Well, this is exactly it. If I want to increase my Elysia's attack, I need to level up my dorm stats. And how do I do that? Well, I need to get more green things, and if I get more green things, I get more and more bonuses. And trust me, if you get more and more attack, it actually does make a big difference, and I'll explain now how this makes a big difference. But essentially, by interacting with the rest of the game, even though I've got my little signature team up and ready, by interacting with what else the game has to offer, I can make my character stronger. In other words, this would be the equivalent of saying I pulled on Scaramouche, and the fact that I have more units now available increases the damage of my Nilo Bloom teams. This is literally what it means. It literally means that I have a reason to keep on saving to potentially get, or to get like the rest of these 48 or whatever, quick math, 16 Valkyries that are still grayed out, because they, all of them, can contribute to the performance of my signature unit. And you might say, well, how does it contribute apart from giving you more stats? Well, these stats are kind of important, because if you look at Honkai's end game, you've got a, oops, as you go here, you've got essentially a scoring system. So in other words, if I go and I beat up the boss here, I get like a bit of a score, and obviously this score is put against the scores of other players to determine rewards and all the good things. And clearly, if I can improve on my character's stats, then yes, all else being equal, I can potentially get a higher score. So then skill, order of execution, and these things matter. And obviously, if I have more stats, then I can just push, I can use my mechanical skill to then just push my score to be a bit higher and potentially get higher up on the rankings. This is a good reason to play. This is a good reason to get all of those characters. This is what I mean. Everything here is so tightly integrated. Even if you might not even care for some of these characters here in the dorm. You might not feel a thing if they die in the story. I certainly didn't feel anything. But even then, even so, if I do get whatever visceral, knight, moonbeam, whatever character or battle suit, I still have a reason to level it up, because it ultimately can still improve my other characters. This is good endgame. This is good endgame design. You get a score, you get stats, you can always like continuously improve. It's just so much better. And the question is, why is Genshin Impact not like sort of doing it? Yeah, she's kind of cute. Why is Genshin not giving us these tightly integrated systems? Because me pulling on a character just, yeah, it means nothing for TCG. The teapot's very light, and I don't know. This is what I mean. This is why I said, why would I want to play Genshin when I can have something that gives me continuous reasons to play? And yes, you might now say, well, what happens if you've maxed out everything? Well, in that case, you can then sort of prove your worth by getting into a higher rank. As you can see, I'm not even at the highest rank. And once you're at the highest rank, you can try and see if you can get 3,000 trophies. And even if you get to that point, well, the game's always going to release more enemies. They're always going to release more characters. So there might even come a point that if you stagnate on your account, you will get left behind, certainly at the highest end. So I don't anticipate myself realistically getting here, but even at the highest end, for those players that are here, they still have enough reason to keep on playing, just even if it's just like friendly competition, and that is so good. So yeah, that is it, guys. That is what I wanted to say. That's my last little rant on Endgame. This is how you properly do it, and in Genshin, yeah, I don't know, they need to do something.